New week of the call up here. It is April 24th, a Monday. I'm Aram Layton. He's Jack McMullen. And we're going to take a break from the top 100 breakdowns for one day just to kind of do some house cleaning. There's a lot going on in minor league baseball. We've got promotions. We've got standout performances. We've got debuts. We've got a lot of housekeeping here. So we're going to get back to the top 100 breakdowns, 15 by 15 by 15. We're at the home stretch there as well. So you can look forward to that on tomorrow's episode. But we felt like the season was passing us by with all that is going on across every level and us just neck deep in these top 100 breakdowns. So very excited to talk about everything from Jackson Holliday and Andrew Abbott getting promoted, a ton of really exciting starting pitching performances at all different levels. We'll lay out as many of those in rapid fire as we can. Heat sheet of hitters, and then a couple big league debuts, and also just recent strong big league performances from prospects. Jack, we got a lot.
We've got a lot, and I think that you put it best in the wise words of Matthew Broderick, who was playing the role of Ferris Bueller. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he said, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. And we were doing a lot of top 100 stuff. But you know what? There's a lot of minor league ball going on, man. And you got to stop and look at the first month of minor league ball, first 3 weeks of minor league ball, because there have been some really notable names that are hitting 350 with like an 1100 OPS. And we got to acknowledge those guys and give them their flowers. And, you know, obviously things are going to deviate within the top 100. A lot of these guys are going to slide up and down. You might as well talk about it in real time. And this is what we love, right? Like we like talking about the rankings and everything in the off season, but we eat when baseball's being played.
Absolutely. And so something that people may notice is you talked about kind of deviations and statistics and things that we've kind of noticed in the early going. You'll notice it's pitching heavy through the first couple weeks because you have to think of this almost as extended spring training. And by that, I mean, when we are looking at spring training, it's easier to have major takeaways from pitching prospects. And the only major takeaways you're going to have from hitting prospects is maybe new max exit velocities, general batted ball data. Zach Neto, for example, we were able to catch on that he was putting up more 105s and 106s and 107s in a short spring training stint than he did almost all of last year. So that's an example. But for the most part, in the early going here, we don't want to take any crazy small sample size, takeaways on the offensive side because a good series against a bad staff can really inflate that. Also, it's really hard. With pitching, we have data, we have, pitch shapes, we have velocity. And if there's a tangible change there, that's worth speaking to. And that's why we're going to talk a little bit more about pitching until probably the second week of May. At that point, then I feel confident in zone contact numbers normalizing, 90th percentile exit velocities normalizing, and just general batted ball data and statistics normalizing. When you see, Frank Mozzicato up a tick velocity-wise of the Royal system and induced vertical break, who we'll talk about, of 21, 22 inches on his fastball, I don't need more of a sample. Obviously, I need to see him do that longer to, regard him as a top 100 prospect. But that's already enough of a talking point where it's like, oh, that looks really good. That data is legit. Let's see if it continues. So that's why we're going to be a little bit pitching heavy, but we are still going to talk about a lot of the different hitters. We're also going to talk about 2023 Bowman Baseball, which comes out on Wednesday, and some of the really exciting prospects who have their first autographs in that.
Yes, we are. Josue DePaula, right? No, but I mean, I do like giving flowers to the guys that have started really hot at the plate because you mentioned it leans pitching as an extended spring. Like hitting always catches up. That's what you hear in pretty much every league. Pitching reigns supreme, hitting catches up. So the guys that buck that trend at the plate, I think, are really impressive. So we'll talk about those impressive guys. There is one big league situation that's bleeding down to the minor leagues. So we will talk about a cold start at the plate, but that's a total exception.
Absolutely. So you want to start with the pitchers?
Let's start with the pitchers.
So there's a few guys that I kind of gave you the topics of. I'm like, you need to watch these guys because I was floored. And I want to start. I mentioned Mozzicato. We'll get to him. I actually want to start with Royber Salinas. Because the story is interesting. The pitching stuff is insane. And Salinas is somebody that I think is going to rise very, very quickly. Oakland A's prospect acquired in I always confuse the packages of Matt Olson and Sean Murphy. This would have been in the Sean Murphy deal, correct? So he was part of the deal that included Esteury Ruiz, Kyle Muller, himself, and Freddie Tarnok, which we were talking about it. That was a return that a lot of people were hard on. I think even us a little bit. I think we were honestly some of the nicer on it. And the more time I've had to digest, it really looks like a pretty decent deal. If Tarnok did not go down this year, that's a guy that probably would have been in their big league rotation. Looks like a number 4, number 5 type, at the very least, a very solid swingman bullpen arm. But there's a legitimate chance that Royber Salinas, aside from Esteury Ruiz, because it's easier to accumulate WAR as a speedy center fielder, Royber Salinas could be one of the most, if not the most valuable piece in this deal. That is something that I think people were overlooking when we saw the package. I think that the Oakland A's, who tend to do pretty well on these kinds of moves, every once in a while they whiff, like every team. I think they identified Salinas as a fringe top 100 guy when they got him in the package. And just because he isn't a top 100 guy yet doesn't mean that it's a bad return. I think we got to give Oakland credit here. They identified somebody that, they knew they were probably going to get a little bit of blowback on because he doesn't appear on any lists. They don't give a shit about lists. They saw Salinas here, a guy with a plus fastball, a nasty breaking ball, and who's just 22 years old. And all of a sudden, it looks like Salinas could be the best pitching prospect in their system, not named Mason Miller.
Well, and the jump that Salinas made, the early goings, he's only thrown 13 1/3 across 4 starts, is in the command department, right? He's punched out 24 in 13 1/3. This dude's walked 2 guys in 13 1/3, like 49 ABs against him, 2 free passes issued. So, I mean, yes, you look at the ERA is good at 2.7. He has a lot of homer and 4 runs, whatever. I'm looking at opponents hitting $184 against him, which is on par with what they did last year. But I'm looking at the whip numbers too. 109 innings a year ago, 73 hits allowed, but 63 walks issued.
Yeah.
So then you take that, and through your first 4 starts, you go 13 1/3 and you walk 2. That's really impressive. This is a big dude.
Yeah.
He gets all of his weight on his back leg and drives. Like, he is more... you hear the term drop and drive a lot, but like you can actually see it with this guy. There's a lot of weight sitting here, then he shoots his body towards home plate, and that's why he can get up to 99. He's an interesting cat to watch pitch, to say the least.
6'2", 281 is the listed weight. And actually, to just be that annoying guy that corrects you, he hit 100 last start.
There you go.
He was up to 99 prior, hit 100 last start. So that shows you, I mean, this guy just turned 22. I like the burly, like heavy kind of pitcher that has the kind of, arm that he has, could probably benefit from getting into a little bit better pitching shape. You wonder if that would help him, even more in the velocity department, but how much more help does he need there?
No, I mean, think about a young Sabathia, right? Like a young CC.
He's athletic. He's athletic though. That's the most important thing. CC was athletic, to your point. And also, not a lot of innings, right? We're talking about 4 appearances. They've eased him into it. He went 2 innings in his first outing, 2 1/3 in his second, 4 in his third, and then 5 in the last outing. Most importantly, his velocity has ticked up in every single outing. His fastball velocity averaged the highest at 97 miles an hour in that 5-inning outing. So it's not a matter of can he be stretched out. He's been stretched out. I think they were just taking their time and easing him into the season. He just went 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 2 walks, 10 Ks, 74 pitches, 47 strikes, with that fastball averaging 97, touching 100 in his last outing. Salinas looks legit. Fastball life is great. Velocity is great. He throws this cutter as well that I think has been a big, you talked about the command, Jack. I think that's been big for him. Instead of going to the curveball more frequently as like an out pitch or a swing and miss pitch, which he's still struggling to command. He's thrown 21 this year, and only 11 have been for strikes. The cutter has been an out pitch and a weak contact inducer that he has more confidence with. He's thrown 50 of them, 33 for strikes. So I think this cutter has helped the command. It's also helped the overarching stuff. It's in the upper 80s. He still has the curveball. He has a changeup. He's got to find the command of those 2 pitches a little bit more, but the fastball, the cutter, and the curve is a 3-pitch mix that I think can make him a problem. And he's striking out guys at a really good clip at 22 years old already, a young 22. I think he turned 22 14 days ago, and he's already having success in Double-A. Look out for Salinas. If he can find the command of the curveball, I think he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and he's really only had one outlier when it comes to the pitch count running up. 2 innings, 29 pitches, his season debut. 2 1/3, 42 pitches. 4 innings, 54 pitches. 5 innings, 74 pitches. So this guy has thrown 199 pitches, 129 of which for strikes.
Yep.
That's a great rhythm to get into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we got another guy on the Royals side. And man, wouldn't it be nice for the Royals to develop somebody here, for the Royals to have a pitching prospect pan out? This might be the best chance for the Kansas City Royals. It's Frank Mozzicato, who is off to a fantastic start this season. Lefty, he was drafted. What was it overall? I don't have it off the top of my head. Late first round. Oh yeah. Underslot early pick, 7th overall in 2021. And man, he looks really good. Velocity's ticked up, command looks really solid. He's still sitting in the low 90s, but the shape is elite. Like, it's 22 inches of induced vertical break, which is off the charts. So even if he's operating 91, 93, he'll have that Nestor Cortez type of just ride and swing and miss in the zone that defies what you're used to in the velocity. But the thing is, he's 6'2", with plenty of room to add strength in his frame. I think he's going to tap into more velocity as he matures. He's still 19. Last outing, he's had 2 straight outings against Fayetteville. And let me just combine these 2 outings against Fayetteville, which were back-to-back. 10 innings, he gave up 1 earned run, 5 walks, 19 Ks, 4 hits. That's spectacular. Fastball average 91 miles an hour, but we talk about the life there. And then the curveball, dude. The curveball is insane. It's nasty at 81, sharper than you'd expect. Tons of downward, vertical break, and then a good changeup that he's starting to get a decent feel for to mix in as a 3rd pitch, which works well off of that riding fastball. Needs a little bit more separation. It's only about 4 or 5 miles an hour apart. But man, this guy has been as good as you could ask for through the start of, this next season for him at 19 years old at low A.
So in 15 innings, he's faced, I think, 58 guys. Yeah, he's faced 58 guys. He's allowed 5 hits. 58 guys. Come on, man. And, you can talk about a 102 opponent batting average, sure. But when you say lefty, high spin fastball, plays up beautifully in the zone, great vertical drop curve off of that, tons of outs in the air, who do you think of? Like, totally different physique, like Mozzicato is still trying to fill out. This is the Julio Urias experience.
Yeah.
Is it not? Like, that's what Julio does. Like, that's why he's a Cy Young candidate every year, because he can live at the top of the zone with an underwhelming velocity-wise fastball that spins like crazy. And then he drops a 12-6 hammer off of that.
Yep.
That's kind of what Mozzicato is doing right now.
100%. What's crazy, too, is like it puts in context how insane Urias is. Mozzicato, we're like, oh, he's only 19 in low A. Urias was debuting at the big leagues at 19, which is so stupid. But to your point, it's that starter kit of the riding fastball, the curveball that tunnels off of it. And one of the things that I think has become as predictable as anything in professional baseball is uptick in velocity. Mozzicato is going to see an uptick. It's a pretty low effort delivery. It's smooth. And if he ticks up to 93, 95, which I really think he will eventually, at the very least, he'll tick up to 92, 94. He's going to be one of the better left-handed pitching prospects in the game. I really think he's going to get to that point. So really wanted to highlight Mozzicato because Salinas and Mozzicato, if the dynasty folks out there, like, those are 2 guys I'm identifying in deep leagues because I'm expecting them to be top 100 candidates by the midseason update, definitely by the end of the season.
I know you're a Ben Kudrna guy too. Are you team Mozzicato or team Kudrna? Because I know that the industry's kind of split on those 2.
I think Mozzicato's got a lot more going for him. Okay. And just in terms of the fastball, it's, again, when you have a fastball like that, I feel a lot better about your floor and your chance to achieve your ceiling. So both of those. And then the curveball is just that's a 70 pitch. It really is. And he's commanding it. He's landing the curveball for a strike 70% of the time. That's shocking with how much it breaks. So I really like where Mozzicato is at.
Cool.
Couple other arms we want to highlight. Tanner Bybee has been great. That's somebody that I know you're going to get a look at, so I'm excited to follow up on Tanner Bybee very soon. And also a guy that we should be getting on the show in the coming week or so. We'll let you know, keep you posted on that. Definitely at some point by mid-May, we will have Bybee on here. Unless he gets called up, which would be a great problem. Then we might have to wait a little bit longer. But Gavin Williams, another really good start. Honestly, the lights out start on the 20th against Harrisburg, where he went, and this is a double-A for the Guardians. 5 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks. He had, to his standards, not as great of a start, which was still really solid start against Bowie, where he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, only 3 Ks in his second start of the year. And then the first start of the year against Erie, 4 1/3, 9 Ks, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk. So he's walked 3 batters in 14 1/3 innings. He's punched out 20. That's kind of what we've become used to with Gavin Williams, who was once a stuff over command guy. It's very clear that he is the best of both worlds now. Fastball is sitting 97. And what stands out the most to me is another guy. This is what happens with a lot of these guys. You probably see it firsthand in Indy, Jack. They need a few starts to get their velocity. They need a few starts to kind of get to that peak velocity that they're used to settling into. Gavin Williams fastball, first start, 96.5 miles an hour. Second start, 96 miles an hour. Third start, 97.7 miles per hour. The third start was his most dominant, and also not a coincidence, his fastball velocity was all the way there, averaging 98, touching 99 several times. Gavin Williams looks like he's settling into form. Wouldn't be surprised to see him with the Guardians at some point this year.
Yeah, I'm thinking sooner rather than later, right? When you get the Espino news that he's going to another doctor to get the shoulder checked out, and with a couple of guys going down, like Logan Allen just made his debut. I think I have more confidence in Gavin Williams getting outs after the All-Star break than I do Logan Allen at the major league level, if Williams continues to progress the way he is. And like with McKenzie being out through the first month of the year, we're seeing a lot of innings go to Hunter Gaddis and Xavier Curry and Peyton Battenfield. And I like Curry and Battenfield a good bit. I do kind of like Gaddis. And I like Logan Allen, but like Gavin Williams is the trump card for that. Like he is just better than all those guys. Yep. And I think that he is showing that he's better than all those guys. You take a gander at Gavin Williams' career minor league numbers. Like this guy, I mean, last year, he was nuts at every level. This year, he's got a .63 in 14 1/3 innings. Gavin Williams in 28 starts has a 1.81 ERA through 129 innings.
It's Grayson Rodriguez-esque. Obviously,
it's utter domination.
But it's like that. It's where it's just every level is utter domination, like you said. And it's because of a fastball that jumps, high end zone whiff, crazy chase rates, gets on you quick because this dude's 6'6", and commands it. That's what stands out the most. He commands the heck out of that fastball. The slider has become a pitch that he has as much confidence in as he does his fastball. Commands the heck out of that. Those are 2+ pitches, or at least plus pitches that he's got rolling for him. Now, what's I think separating Williams from dominating the minor leagues and dominating the big leagues is that third pitch. He's got 2 that he's trying to find. He's got a curveball. He's got a changeup. Both of which he has not thrown first strike, small sample size, but has not thrown first strike as much as he'd like to this year. He's able to dominate hitters with fastball slider. We've seen guys at the big league level dominate with fastball slider, but I would love to see him, make some strides with that curveball. I think that pitch is ahead of his changeup a little bit. But it is worth noting, he struggled with slider command last year. He landed at first strike less than 60% of the time. And it was still really good because it's a big whiff pitch, 20% swinging strike rate. But now he's landing at first strike as much of as the fastball, both at a 71% clip. That's, to me, 270 pitches there. If he even has the curveball or changeup emerge as an average third offering, he could be a really, really good frontline type guy, like a number 2 type guy. But I think he could ride the fastball slider with that command that he's shown in the early going to being a middle rotation type arm.
When do you think he's done in Akron? Like, I think this guy...
he shouldn't make another start there. I really don't. So I think one more start. I think one more start and he's gone.
Yeah, I think so too. And then I think...
It might be an org log jam. You know Columbus better than I do in terms of the roster. They've got Bybee there. They did just call up Allen. So what's the roster situation in Columbus? Because I think that might be the biggest reason why we don't see Gavin in triple rather than like him not being ready, so to speak.
Starters that are active in Columbus right now: Tanner Bybee, Hunter Gaddis, Daniel Norris, Connor Pilkington, Adam Scott, Tukey Toussaint.
Yeah, so they've got some guys that they're kind of waiting to figure it out with, right?
Like, yeah, but like, is Adam Scott blocking Gavin? You know what I mean?
No, but I think you want to see Tukey for another start, see what the deal is. Like, there's no reason to rush another decision just because, we got to get Gavin Williams up there. Like, you could justifiably have him make another start or two and double, which gives you another start or two to get some more clarity on those fringy quadruple A type guys that are still valuable. Like, you're trying to get through 162. You don't want to just cut ties with Tukey because you're in a rush to call somebody up. So I think they're going to kind of wait maybe one or two more starts, but Gavin's ready. And that AAA rotation is going to be fun as hell with Tanner Bybee and Gavin Williams.
100%. Also, when did Zach Collins drop out of the prospect world? Because through 21 games, he's hitting 370. What a weird
dude. He's had enough.
Never.
Yeah, he's got to do it at the big league level.
I don't think he will. Like, I've seen him get DFA'd with options remaining. Like that's the guy we're talking about.
Unfortunately, watch him come up in Miami. He was a force.
I'm sure.
So, but yeah, it's those times have changed a little bit. Any other arms we want to hit on before we get to the position player offensive side of things? Is there anyone else I floated to you that I wanted to talk about that we might not be?
Yes, Ben Brown.
Oh yeah, how could I forget about Ben Brown of the Chicago Cubs? Ben Brown is here, man. He's here, and I think he's going to assert himself. Cade Horton's going to have a strong case because Cade Horton looks good too, their first rounder last year. Ben Brown might be the best pitching prospect in this system. That simple. His stuff is off the charts. Fastball is a 70 pitch. And then he's made strides with both breaking balls. They were blending together, which was the problem because they're both at the same velocity, mid to upper 80s. He's got the slider and the curveball. But now the curveball's got more of the downward break and the slider's got more horizontal break. So you're seeing different shapes. He's using the curveball to lefties more. He's using the slider to righties, but both work against both-handed hitters. And now commanding the fastball better, Ben Brown looks ready to, kind of fly through the minors and potentially help the Chicago Cubs team this year. Fastball is sitting in the upper 90s with anywhere from 18 to 20 inches of induced vertical break. I think he's mixed in a few 20 and a half to 21-inch induced vertical break fastballs, which is awesome because he's touching 98. The command's got to get a little bit more consistent, but I think it's been pretty good overall. He's striking out 41% of batters he's faced. He's walked 11% of batters. But the fastball and two breaking ball combination and the changeup that, whole mix in here and there, which he's actually thrown for a strike 11 of the 14 times he's went to it this year. Brown's starting to shed some of that reliever risk, Jack.
Yeah, big time. No, man, I mean, like, I think Carter Hawkins and Jed Hoyer are doing as good of a job as you'll find in Major League Baseball right now, because this wasn't it a 1-for-1 flip for David Robertson?
Yeah, that
like
was
one for
classic Dombrowski move. Obviously, Robertson got them to the World Series. He was a big part of that.
For sure.
I know Phillies fans can't be thrilled about trading Ben Brown. Ben Brown could be helping them this year.
For sure. No, but I mean, Ben Brown, man, like he's a huge guy that throws like a huge guy. And those are my favorites. Like I love big dudes that throw like big dudes. And I think that the best example of that is probably Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah.
And like Ben Brown is, again, if you were to have like a Glass Now starter kit, it kind of feels like that guy.
The similar arsenal. What Glasnow really hit that next level when he had the 2 breaking balls that he differentiated a bit more, rather than trying to find this changeup that wasn't totally going to be there. The crazy thing is Brown is starting to show a little bit of a feel for the changeup. You go through each start this year, less and less walks. So it's just going even from the start at Birmingham, he goes 4 innings, no hits, no runs, 4 walks, 6 Ks. Still a really good outing. Next start against Montgomery, 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Last start against AA Chattanooga for the Reds, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run on a solo homer, no walks, 9 Ks. So command has gotten better and better, and he's going deeper and deeper. We're seeing teams do the same approach, stretching them out, as each start goes in, but stretching them out while also walking less. That'll play. And that's exactly what Ben Brown is doing here. A candidate to get promoted to AAA very soon. And I think a candidate to help this big league team when they need some starting pitching help. Again, I think really shaking that reliever risk that has been put on him. You talk about big dude, 6'6", 225 pounds. He's 23 years old. Big name to watch. I think he could be a really, really fun arm that has monstrous upside outside of every top 100 list right now.
100%, man. And I mean, like, you're looking at 4 confirmed starters for the most part with the big club right now. Stroman's been great. Steele's been great. Drew Smiley was kind of perfect. Like, we didn't talk about Smiley. I mean, dude, like, personally, I would have been kind of upset if Smiley was the one to do it. Because like the last one was Felix Hernandez. You know what I mean? If the last one was Philip Umber or Dallas Braden, I would have been okay with Smiley doing it. But like, it's Felix. Like, give me a top 10 pitcher in the game, like throwing the next perfecta.
I agree. And I think that's why Yan Gomes intervened there as the ball dribbled down the third base line.
I think so. That's justice for King Felix. But no, it's Stroman great, Steele great, Smiley not relinquishing his spot, it seems, right now. And then Hayden Wisniewski struggled, but is bouncing back a little bit.
Yep.
Kyle Hendricks has a shoulder strain. Tyone's got a groin strain. But after that, man, I mean, you're looking at Javier Assad, Adrian Sampson, Caleb Killian. Assad was really struggling. I don't think Killian is like making his case for a full-time guy. There might be a spot in this rotation pretty soon, and Ben Brown should at least be getting looks in that regard.
No doubt. And I think he's got to do it in triple, tighter strike zone, start to show it there. And there's going to be something to see and to consider calling him up there, as this is a big year for progress for the Cubs too. I know they're focused on competing, but it's a big year to kind of see what you got. And I think going into 2024, it would be nice to at least have a few starts from Ben Brown at the big league level under his belt. And I think he's doing everything in his power to, expedite that timeline. Speaking of a guy who is expediting his timeline, and the last pitcher that we're going to mention here, Andrew Abbott, just got promoted to AAA. Full disclosure, was planning on interviewing him today on his off day for the call up. But Abbott, great news, gets promoted to AAA. So great reason to potentially reschedule. We'll figure it out, but you have Abbott to look forward to. We're going to make that happen soon. I'm really excited to talk to Andrew Abbott for this reason. His stuff is exponentially different. I know it's early, but I think we have enough of a sample size here to compare. I have a 900 and almost 1,000 pitch sample from last year, fastball wise. His average induced vertical break was 17 inches, and the fastball velocity averaged 92.3. So far this season, fastball velocity is averaged 93 miles an hour. Average induced vertical break is almost 21 inches. Spin rate is up almost 200 RPMs. So this guy is basically getting another 4 inches of ride on his fastball with a full uptick in velocity as well. You see an uptick in velocity. You don't see 4 inches of induced vertical break added. So this guy added velocity and added shape. It's not a coincidence that Andrew Abbott has been making a mockery of the competition so far in AA for the Reds.
I'm so curious as to like how he facilitated this change.
I can't wait to talk to him. I can't wait.
Yeah, because like I want to ask how, and like a lot of pitchers have made changes in their careers. You know what I mean? Like a lot of pitchers have tweaked their arsenal, all that stuff. But when it comes to fastball shape, I thought that was just kind of something that like you live with.
Yeah,
You
it's just
exist,
you're
right?
kind of born with it.
Yeah, like I
It's hard
want
to
to
change.
know. It's hard to change. I want to know how the change was this drastic
Mhm.
in one off season.
Mhm. And then how
So
about this? He adds 2 inches of horizontal break on his slider. Now it's really more of that true sweeper, up to 18 inches of horizontal movement, averaging around 16 inches of horizontal break there. And then also the changeup has been money. Landing the slider for a strike 71% of the time, landing the fastball for a strike 72% of the time. The command has been unbelievable as well. This is the best K to BB rate I've seen through the first 3 starts of a season. 64% strikeout rate, 5% walk rate. That's 61% K minus BB rate. That's beyond off the charts. That's comical. That's a joke. I can't wait to talk to this guy. Congratulations to him on his promotion to AAA. This dude might be the best pitching prospect. He is the best pitching prospect in the Red system now.
Yeah,
He's better
right.
than Chase
Because
Petty now. I love Chase Petty. He's better than Chase Petty.
he's better than Chase Petty, and I mean Williamson certainly hasn't helped his
Connor
case.
Phillips. I love Connor Phillips. He's better than Connor Phillips.
Yeah, it's
Red
crazy
system,
what a couple starts can do. But again, this is the benefit of having data.
Yeah, this is I would not make this kind of, he was right there already. I would not make this kind of, bold assumption off of 3 statistical starts in terms of like, oh, he struck out a lot of guys in 3 starts. The shape is so vastly different. You watch these starts, hitters look absolutely lost up there. And there's a reason why the Reds are promoting him to AAA. This guy found something.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like, I hope I see him in Louisville. I'm not sure if I'll see him in Louisville because
They need rotation help.
Luis Cessa's still in the rotation. I know.
He might be up there sooner rather than later.